Let's watch this one.
I miss when World of Warcraft was just a game to me. In fact, I missed when most games were just games. I was reminded of this last night while playing Quest 64, an old Nintendo 64
You don't have any money? I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
game. There's barely any direction, there's no objectives, and there's a ton of rooms and corridors and hallways that just lead nowhere. It annoyed me at first. I would say stuff like, why would the developers put that there if it has no purpose? Or I'd say something like, that's bad game design. But then I did some reflection. There was a day before good game design, when games weren't designed to keep you engaged or keep your dopamine levels high or give you constant breadcrumb rewards. There was a day when they were just games, to play without purpose just for fun. Almost like playing pretend when you were a kid. So why did the developers put that empty hallway there? Well, because someone may just want to explore around for fun. How
To the playing pretend as kids? We did that all the time. We literally get, you know how in America, they tell their kids to not point guns at people? We as kids, we got sticks and pretended they were guns. And guess what? We played robber and gendarme, so robber and police, and we shot each other. and we were going bang bang, you are dead. Oh, it was. And the thing is, it was not just kids of a certain age group only playing that. No, that was like the kids about 6 years old to teenagers, like 14, 15 years old. We were playing together. How often do you see that today? Never. Which is really bad. It is actually good for smaller kids to be around older kids and vice versa. Because it builds character and shit like that.
about that? Playing a game for the fun of it. I used to feel the same way about World of Warcraft. Nowadays, I care about item levels, I care about rating, I care about new content and the best talent builds and the top classes and the top specs and the next patch and the buffs and the nerfs. And even Blizzard seems to have adapted to this style of thinking, making every new zone and raid high octane and high priority in the storyline. There's no time anymore to just relax and play, but it wasn't always like this. When I first started playing World of Warcraft in 2006, I was a dwarf warrior and I had no clue what I was doing. But I did.
That was the best time in the game. Like, I remember parts of my first time playing World of Warcraft, leveling. I still remember parts of that. I completely don't remember um, things that I did in the expansions after the Burning Crusade. Well, actually, I remember Pandaria. I remember one thing that I was leveling very fast through dungeons because I was a healer and I was just running after the group that I didn't even need to heal because they were so overpowered. They were just one-shotting everything. That was kind of fun. But actual really long-term fun I had by leveling in Vanilla and the Burning Crusade. It was really awesome.
Know one thing. I loved being engrossed in the world. I would go into every building in Ironforge just to look around and think how cool it might be to just hang out here with friends and talk.
I did the same.
Not questing, not leveling, not gearing, just hanging out in a cool secluded place in Ironforge talking about life. Same thing for this random building in Orgrimmar. I barely made it to level 20 on that first character, but I probably explored most of the entire world map, and I can still remember the awe I felt when I accidentally stumbled into the burning steppes by walking
Yes.
through the broken gate in the north of Red Ridge Mountains, and suddenly I
Same.
arrived in Fire and Brimstone. Seeing the blackened, smoky sky and the lava pouring from the mountains was amazing, and seeing the creatures and dragons that roamed the land made me excited to eventually come back and quest here, which I never did. Oops. But I do still remember that feeling, the wonder and the awe at every zone and every turn. And now I'm
Yes.
so familiar with every zone that I gotta admit I'm pretty killer at WoW GeoGuessr. So that begs the question, is this just a nostalgia thing? And I don't think so, as Classic WoW and Season of Discovery in particular still have their moments of invoking wonder in me more so than modern WoW. And I think what it comes down to is the idea of a game being just that, a game. The process of not needing to follow an ideology of good game design, or retention practices, or meaningful progression systems, or balance.
Also, one thing, modern WoW is basically designed like a cheap WoW clone, which you very clearly see at the standard UI. The standard UI from back in the day looks beautiful. If you look at the modern standard UI, it ugh, it's ugh. It has no detail to it, no love, nothing. Because the people that designed it doesn't care. And also the UI, the quest tracker and everything, it looks exactly like every other game that's out there. And that's the thing. All those games that are out there, they all have the same design elements. It's all the same. It looks all the same. And that's why no one gives a fuck anymore. And you know that the developers also don't give a fuck. Because it all looks the same. They don't care.
In the many
So
empty
why should
buildings in
you?
each capital city, I feel the echoes of players and guilds that came before and probably hung out within their walls chatting in game rather than using something like Discord to do voice chat. And even
Yes.
beyond the capital cities, there are empty vistas in areas of the game that some may consider useless or poorly designed that were really just there to add flavor for those who wanted it. And
Yes, which is awesome. It's awesome. And hello, Regulus. And that's the awesome thing. This is nice. Like back in the day, Easter eggs. Developers would just put Easter eggs into the games that you can discover randomly. Today, they can't do that anymore because, oh my god, it might be inappropriate or something stupid like that. But back in the day, that was normal. I remember that was in Quake 3, and leveling in the old game zones is way, way better than in the new ones. It's not even close, which is really saying a lot. Like how bad the new zones are. War Thunder can be very tedious sometimes. Yes, very. Especially if you lose all the time.
not the champion of Azeroth. I want to walk around and explore the corners of each zone and building, not for a reward or a secret, but for the fun of it. But the gaming landscape has changed. We don't need to talk using in-game chat anymore. Discord has a great interface, a bunch of communities, and it's easier than ever to voice chat with your friends. Back in the day, having a TeamSpeak or Vent server was a big deal, and having good enough internet to run that at the same time as playing World of Warcraft was an even bigger deal.
Yeah.
Stereotypically nowadays, gamers are painted as these nitro-fueled, energy drink chugging, RGB lighting enthralled adult children. And to pander to that stereotype, we need flashy games that pack a punch and better pack one quick before your captive audience chooses one of a million other games promising the same thing. But there's another catch. They're all promising the same thing.
Yep, they do. They always do. And that's why I play more niche games. Because I can't stand all those flashy stuff. It gives me a headache. Also, I loved leveling in Vanilla WoW and in Burning Crusade. I loved it. I loved it so much. If there would be a game that's like that, just leveling through a world that's that's nice and has story and stuff like that, I would buy that. If it's single player, I don't want multiplayer anymore. This is tedious. And I also will never play an MMORPG ever again. I'm done with that genre. I don't want to. I don't want to raid. I mean, doing dungeons with people is nice if you are in a guild with them, but with randoms, oh god, no. Yeah, so no thanks.
How awesome would it be to finally have a World of Warcraft expansion or experience with a slower pace, a chiller vibe, and some good old fun exploration? And no, I'm not talking about the cozy game genre, which, side note, it's probably growing fast because more people are wanting that type of vibe, but I don't want WoW to be a farming sim or an idle game. I would want the upcoming WoW expansions to feel like classic WoW and Season of Discovery in their pacing. Slowed down, less high stakes, less flashy lights, less progression systems, with more corners to explore, whether they're empty or not.
And the thing with the progression systems, at least in World of Warcraft, is they only matter for one expansion, and then they are gone, completely out of relevance. So why are they there in the first place? It's a waste of resources.
I don't have a proposed solution, and I'm not saying by any means I hate World of Warcraft now or that I'm quitting retail. No, none of that. I just wanted to throw my hat and my feelings into the ring, and I'm sure some of you out there would feel the same. I still like to just sit on the cliffs of Thunderbluff and look out on Mulgore. I still like to hear the music of Elwyn Forest and Stormwind as I'm strolling through. And sometimes, even as a heroic raider in Dragonflight, I still like to RP walk. And I hope that I'm not alone in saying I miss when games were games and we would play just for fun. Thanks for watching and take care.
Yeah, good video. I actually watched that about a year ago. But yeah, this was good. And yes, the soundtrack of World of Warcraft was always awesome. My favorite town to be in Vanilla WoW was Ironforge, which for the ones who don't know, that's where the dwarves lived. Awesome, awesome town. Loved it. It was so good.